Hello and welcome to the latest episode of EFT Changes Lives. My name is Mary Jane Sharratt. I am an EFT practitioner and trainer. And today I am delighted to welcome Fiona Grant. Fiona is an advanced EFT practitioner and also has an energy psychology certification. And Fiona has a really fabulous niche, an area that she has intense personal experience of working with as well. So Fiona is working with weight loss using EFT. Hello, Fiona. It is so great to see you today.
Hello, Mary Jane. It's so great to see you, and it's an honour to be speaking to you on your EFT Changes Lives series because it
Thank
really does.
Good. Yes, it really does. And it really changed your life, didn't it? In amazing ways. So I know you've told the story probably more times than you can count. But can you tell us a little bit about your, is it fair to call it a battle with weight? Yeah.
Yes,
Tell us a bit
absolutely.
about that and what happened.
Thank you. Yeah. So, yes, that's how I described it because it felt like a battle with my weight to me. So it was so I battled with my weight for around 40 years, and it started when I was in my teens or tweens, maybe. No, teens,
Wow.
no,
Quite
teens.
young then. Yeah.
And when my mum took me to Weight Watchers, which kind of like, oh, there must be something wrong with me. My mum's taken me to
Mm.
Weight Watchers. And I was an emotional eater, an overeater, a binge eater, and a stress eater. And I wasn't like that, I'd say for those, gradually that built up over those years for me. And I tried lots of diets. I even tried my own really restrictive ones. And even when I lost weight, I always put it on so quickly, much faster than I'd lost it, and even more weight as
Wow.
well. So
Mm.
I reached the point where it felt absolutely pointless for me to actually go on a diet because, you know, I would go on this diet. I would lose weight, but I would always put it back on and more. So it just seemed pointless. So I gave up.
Yeah. Okay. And there was a turning point, wasn't there? Or a point at which you thought, yeah, something new needs to be tried.
Yeah. So in 2018, early 2018, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. But I would also like to say that in 2015, I had a trapped femoral nerve in my back. And
Oh,
I'd never known pain like that. It was excruciating. And that was affecting my knee. And so my knee would just give out on me and I'd just
oh,
fall on the ground, which obviously wasn't pleasant when you were out or
yeah.
indoors, but even more so when you were out. And I thought it would be good if I could lose some weight. It would
Hmm.
be really helpful. So I did try. I did just half my portions. But then, as life does, it's always going to have stresses, it's always going to have challenges because that's part of life.
Hmm.
So I immediately returned to, eating the food
Yeah.
because that was my natural place to go back to. That was
Hmm.
kind of wired through my brain and nervous system for me to return to. Now, at that time, it didn't occur to me. I didn't think, oh, I'm an EFT practitioner. Why don't I apply EFT to this? Because there was part of me that was blocking me from having that awareness.
Interesting. Yeah. There was sort of a
So,
resistant part, do you think, a part that the weight was somehow weirdly safe?
yes, absolutely. For that part, there was absolute safety in
Yeah.
that weight. So it wasn't even gonna let that be an inkling
No.
in my
Okay.
head.
Wow.
And obviously after that, I was working on other stuff
Hmm.
in my life. And then so 2018, the shock of the doctor saying you've got type 2 diabetes,
Yeah.
lose weight, eat healthily, so eat a healthy diet, live a healthy lifestyle. I mean, that's so easy for him to say. They're just words, aren't they? That's
Yes.
just that sentence. So he could say that so easily.
Yeah.
But I battled with my weight for 40 years.
Yes.
and I hadn't. And if I could have done it over that time, I would have,
Mm, of course.
you know. So it wasn't that I didn't want to,
Mm,
it was that I just couldn't.
yeah.
And so, and he offered me 12 weeks free at either Slimming World or Weight Watchers.
Okay.
And I was so desperate, even though I'd sworn back when I did Weight Watchers for the first time that I would never ever go back to a diet club. I was so desperate. I thought, I'm just gonna, I was
Yeah.
so scared of what could happen
Yeah.
to the type 2 diabetes. So I
Yeah.
thought, yeah, I'll go for that. And actually that I remember when I was sitting there when the kind of like the group leader is kind of like introducing herself and talking you through, I
Mhm.
just started to cry because I felt like an utter failure. I really felt like she was so lovely to me, but
Mhm.
I really felt
Mm.
like a failure.
Oh.
And so, when I started to apply EFT, I there was no thought of, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to then help other people.
No, of
That's
course
what I
not. It was kind of desperate
It was like,
last
I don't
measure.
know if this is exactly, I don't know if this is going to work. I do know I need to try, I need to do something else because did, if I did it, what I did before, I'm going to get the same results. And I thought, I don't want that because then I might lose the weight and then I put it all back on and more. And then I would still, and the type 2 diabetes would be there. So
Yes.
that was pointless. So I needed to do something different to get a different outcome.
And you just you were obviously a practitioner by this stage, weren't you?
Yes,
So did
yes.
you just apply EFT based on your own experience and knowledge? You didn't follow anybody else, you just did it yourself.
I just did it myself. And I also kind of added other things along the way as well, like kind of like when I discovered them as
Hmm.
well. I kind of like added
Okay.
them as well. Like a simple one is like witnessing. So so go to the shops and just suddenly get this really overwhelming desire to buy some chocolate.
Hmm.
I really, really, really want to buy some chocolate. Now, I could have just tapped on my fingertips discreetly. I could have done that. But what I did in those moments is I would say, I'm not my chocolate. I'm not my chocolate. I'm not my chocolate. I'm not my chocolate. And I just repeated until that desire went down enough that I could make a conscious choice. Because before that,
Okay.
I could not make a conscious choice
Yeah.
because that desire, it's all coming from the subconscious, it's coming from the body, it's coming from the brain.
Mm.
As you know, our subconscious is 80 to 95%, and our conscious mind is 5 to 15%.
Running
So
the
that's
show, the subconscious, really, isn't it?
absolutely. And so there was 80 to 95% against 5 to 15.
Yeah.
So what was going to win? So
Yeah.
that's why to do something to so that you can have that conscious choice
Yeah.
back
Nice.
again. Yes. So I did things like that
Okay. And
as
how
well.
quickly did you begin to notice things changing?
That is a very interesting question, a very good question. How I don't remember how quickly I saw things
Mhm.
changing. I what I do remember is when I suddenly realized that I always had to have bread every day.
Right.
Always, I couldn't not have bread every day. I had to eat bread every day.
Hmm.
And I realized that actually I only actually really liked the bread for the margarine. I wasn't really that much of a fan of the bread itself.
Okay.
And then I thought, well, actually, I mean, because I would eat any bread, it didn't
Hmm.
matter. And I thought, well, I'm not really enjoying this bread. So I didn't have any desire for that
Yeah.
bread. That
Yeah.
desire had gone. I
So
mean,
yeah. So it wasn't that kind of idea, I must not eat bread. It wasn't kind of deprivation in that way. It was just like, oh, suddenly I'm just not eating it anymore.
yeah, it's just, oh yeah, I just noticed I'm not eating it anymore. And now I choose if I would like to have some bread. And sometimes I do, but I choose bread that I know I'm going to really, really enjoy,
Yeah.
and it's not something, and I wouldn't want to have it every day.
Mm.
I mean, actually, the thought of having it every day, I'm like, no, thank you.
Yes.
So I noticed things like that, and I noticed like when, so like if emotional eating would
Hmm.
hit or the
Hmm.
stress eating, it was like such a low kind of like in the EFT would use the word charge, wouldn't we? A low
Yeah.
intensity
Yes.
that it was so low it didn't really.
Okay. It's almost like I could have a biscuit, but I could not. Almost like that. Or you just felt
Um,
the emotions were just less charged.
so I think yeah, so probably wouldn't have been a biscuit for me.
Mhm.
What I'm thinking about, and yeah, it was just the desire to eat actually really uh, mainly any food. When I say any food, really, I should clarify that it doesn't mean like I wanted to eat lots of fruit and lots of vegetables. It
Salad.
didn't, and salad. It didn't mean that. It was like, yeah, it could be, I suppose, biscuits or chocolate or bread, although it probably wouldn't, or bread, or nuts or peanut butter, or so
Yeah.
it could have been anything
Yeah.
that would have that I suppose would have fed that emotional need, that unmet need that
Yeah.
before I would have been trying to get met
Yes.
through
Through food.
eating the food, which is never made to actually honor that need. I
No.
mean, it was, and that kind of within me, there was a reason for that. At one time, temporarily, in that moment when that food was eaten, it felt like that the body, the system, the brain got something from that. And so
Yes.
that's when it became a repeated pattern, because as you know, the brain is efficient.
Very efficient. I heard someone call it the other day a food hug.
A food hug.
Yes. So
Oh
it's like
yeah.
you eat something and it's like a hug for just that moment.
Yes.
And
Sorry, I was just checking that it was hug.
yeah, yeah,
I thought, was it
food
food
hug.
hold?
No,
And I
food
thought
hug. A
food
food
hug.
hug. And I
Yeah,
thought it is like that, isn't it? It's kind of comforting in that moment.
it is. It
Mm.
is. But it's such a short moment, and that's why you can then, you're trying to get that feeling again. So you go back for more, you go back for more, and it can never give that to you. It can never give enough of it
No.
for you.
Yes. Yes.
Whereas, using EFT can help with all of this.
Mm, for sure. So you lost how much weight or dress sizes in whatever terminology you want to use, Fiona?
So I lost over 5 stone. That's over. And for those that don't speak in stones,
Yeah.
that's over 70 pounds, over 31.75 kilos.
Wow. Yes.
And I went down 7 dress sizes.
Amazing. Amazing. And not over a very long time. I remember you telling me, and I was quite surprised quite how quick it was.
Yes, I think it was a year and 4 months.
A year and 4 months. Okay. And so that was a lot of weight loss in, yeah, 16 months or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Amazing.
approximately,
Yeah.
yes.
And have you managed to stay more or less where you got to without any effort at all?
I say that I've retained the 7 dress sizes,
Yeah.
and I've kept the majority of weight off.
Hmm.
Um, Although I do eat more over Christmas.
Yeah.
So I put on a bit of weight then, but then I just returned to how, I my
Okay.
normal way of being, and it just falls off.
Yeah.
But there was one point when my mum sadly died at over Christmas,
Oh.
and so kind of like being the time of year it was, and my mum passing, um, the grief overwhelmed me. It felt unending. So
Mm.
what I did was I went back to the food. I went back, well, for me, white wine and
Uh-huh.
TV. So
Right.
I was trying to, I mean, I was tapping as well through
Okay.
the grief.
Yeah.
Um, but that was before I was an advanced
Okay.
practitioner. Yes.
And then that
So
came off. You got that weight gain off again.
I did.
Mm.
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
And I think that's good for people to know. Life's not, we're not equal, are we? If we weigh ourselves every day, we're never going to weigh the same every day because, different things happen every day, don't they? Might depend on how well you've slept or how much water you've drunk or something else, mightn't it? So I think that's I think that's important. But the fact that you pretty much have managed to regulate your weight
Mm. Mm.
since that big loss. And how is the type 2 diabetes? What happened there for you?
Yeah, so I lost a certain percentage of weight in 2018, and then I was like just at the kind of like the top of the normal range.
Hmm.
So they considered me that I didn't have type 2 diabetes then, but
Okay.
I decided that I wanted to be really in that normal range.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Carry
I
on.
so I carried on losing weight. And so I've been in remission from type 2 diabetes since 2018 now.
Wow. Congratulations. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the work you're doing now is with anybody with weight issues, women, men, all ages. Tell me a bit about that. What are you doing in terms of your work?
So I work with women who are worried about their health due to their weight, but
Right.
they've struggled for many years to lose weight, or they just can't keep it off.
Hmm.
And so using EFT and other tools,
Yeah.
I help them so they are able to reach the healthy weight for their body,
Hmm. Yeah.
maintain it, because that I think is the maintaining it is key. And as you said,
Yeah.
um, maintaining doesn't mean you always weigh exactly the same every day, because your weight fluctuates up and
Sure.
down, all throughout your day.
Yes. Yes, of course. Yeah, absolutely. And how do you do that work with people? So if people were to get in touch with you, how would that look? How do you format that program that you offer?
So I work with women one-to-one, because
Mhm.
this is when you've been struggling with your weight for many years, it's complex
Yeah.
work. It
Yeah.
has, by that, I mean, it has many, many layers.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And so
as you said, there were four things. I can't remember what they all were, but one was emotional overeating, one was stress eating. There were a couple of others. I can't remember what you said earlier. But yeah, so there's lots of complexities around food, aren't there?
mm. And there's also the body actually holds on to the weight. So somebody could be eating. So like you've got the weight loss plateaus, for example,
Hmm.
and somebody can be eating healthily but not losing weight,
Yes.
because there is something in the subconscious, something in the body that says that, consciously they're thinking, I want to lose this weight. Absolutely, I do. And their subconscious is going, well, and the body is going, well. So the body isn't releasing. So it's also very much about working with that
Yeah, yeah. That
as
85 to
well.
95% that's running the show
Mhm.
is
Absolutely.
is in
Absolutely.
charge. Yeah, for sure. And I've seen that. I've heard stories about that where subconsciously the subconscious is saying it's not safe to lose the weight. And so, yeah. Or this is your identity, or it's not safe for other people, or something like that as well. So yeah, the subconscious is super powerful, isn't it? I mean, that's great in lots of ways, isn't it? We clean our teeth or I don't know, prepare our favorite meal without thinking much about it. But yeah, it's not very helpful when it gets on a track and then we can't change it.
Absolutely, like when you're going out walking, it's lovely. It's
Yeah.
brilliant for that. But as you say, when it's stuck in a loop
Yeah.
that is not helpful for you,
Yes.
for us as human beings, then
Yes.
it's not helpful.
And that's your work. You're looking at those events, the beliefs, the underlying subconscious patterning, I guess, a lot, aren't you, with your clients?
Yes.
Yeah. As well as presumably giving them techniques like you mentioned the witnessing earlier.
Yeah, so that would be one
Yeah.
technique. So I give them stuff to use
Great.
at home, like for when that emotional eating, that stress eating,
Yeah.
binging, that emotional eating. So I might have confused some of those words along the line there. So my
Okay.
apologies. Um, so if they find that when that hits for them, then they've got something just to take it down enough that they can
Mhm.
make a conscious choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic, Fiona. So how can people get in touch with you if they are interested in doing that?
So they can go to my website, fionagrant.co.uk, and there is a work with me page
Ah,
on
brilliant.
there that where they can book a discover your blocks to losing
Cool.
weight session with me, where we would identify three of the unconscious barriers that are stopping
Mhm.
them from losing that weight and keeping it off.
Fantastic. That's amazing. And all the links are below the video. So if anyone wants to get in touch with Fiona, you can do all of that there. Fiona, is there anything else you want to add about EFT? Maybe if someone's a bit skeptical that how can tapping on my head, my hands, my body make any difference to how much chocolate I eat in a week? You know, if people are skeptical, what would you say to them?
Well, I suppose the first thing I would say that is that when the first time I saw EFT and a friend showed it to me and I saw them, that's what she demoed the points. I thought, why on earth is she hitting her body? I'm never ever going to hit my body. That I'm never ever going to do EFT.
Yeah.
And having done EFT,
Yes.
I absolutely love it. But the thing about EFT, now people talk a lot about mindset work.
Yeah.
And in society, well, Western society, it's been very much, to lose weight, change how you're eating, move more.
Yeah.
And it's very much implied that it's all about willpower. That
Mm.
you can't do that. It's because you don't have the willpower to do that.
Yes.
But 100% isn't that, because you think 80 to 95% of your subconscious is
Yeah.
going, eat that, eat that, eat that now, eat it now. So it's nothing to do with willpower.
Yeah.
And the beauty of EFT is it not only addresses the subconscious and the conscious, but it works with the body and it rewires the brain. So
Mm.
tapping on these points, you're actually, in a way, connecting with your brain, your body, and your nervous system,
Yeah.
and your subconscious, which is the only part
Mm.
of it that's going to change that pattern, that's going to break that
Absolutely.
loop.
Yeah. Yeah. And you must have seen some amazing transformations with people you've worked with, not just in terms of shape and size, but in terms of their health, maybe their confidence, their relationships, everything, because it must impact, you know, when people's self-image changes, how they feel about their body, then everything changes, doesn't it?
And it's what actually changes isn't that they've lost the weight. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, so they lose the weight,
Yes,
absolutely. And obviously, when you lose the weight, how your body looks at other people changes.
of course.
Um, and but within doing that stuff, when I say stuff, sorry, when using the EFT, applying EFT to it, then that, because it's not, it's about it's about the way the eating food in part, but
Yeah.
there's so much else underlying that's related to those three things.
Yeah.
So yes, that they can suddenly find that where they um they're with people that they felt really subconscious about their body in certain situations. And then suddenly they're like, oh, no, I feel good about my body.
Mm.
Yeah. So
That changes that relationship with those people.
yeah, and it changes it within, though. It kind of like they notice those changes over
Yeah.
the sessions with me, because those kind of things are cumulative.
Yes.
And so they kind of notice. So it's not weight loss in itself that's
Yeah.
giving you confidence and
Yes.
making you happy.
Yes.
It is
It's
applying
all
the
the other
EFT
stuff. Yeah.
to the eating food and weight loss that is going to do those changes.
Yeah. And collapsing all the reasons that someone gained the weight in the first place.
Yeah, or as many of them as
Indeed.
is necessary to make that change,
Yeah.
and to make it permanent for that
Absolutely.
person.
And you must see a real shift in people's nervous system regulation as well. That, they're much more regulated, much more in balance as well.
Yeah, so they say things like they feel more at peace, they feel calmer.
Yeah. Sleep
Yeah,
improves probably,
yes, the
everything.
sleep improves.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Fantastic. It's so fascinating the work you're doing, Fiona, and so valuable as well, because it's so not another diet, is it? It's so far from being an eating plan, a diet plan, a weight loss plan, etc., because it's working completely different level, different place within the nervous system as well, isn't it? And within the subconscious.
It is the working in the places that are going to make the difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
Long term. Fantastic.
Because I remember when I've been struggling to lose weight, I remember kind of thinking, if only I could have a pill. If I could have a pill that I could take right now, that
Yeah.
I would wake up tomorrow morning
Yes.
and I'd lost all my weight, I would take that pill. And looking back now, okay, if there was that pill and I had taken that pill and I had woken up and I'd lost all that weight, but I hadn't dealt with anything at all that
Yeah.
was actually controlling that, the
Yes.
food, the eating, and the weight, then I would have just put that weight all back on.
Yeah. Yeah. So presumably not just are you narrower, I think you described yourself as narrower, um, but you're also happier, more regulated, more balanced in many other ways you perhaps never could have dreamed of with all
Definitely.
those years of
Yeah.
dieting.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and actually, the other side of it, having lost all that weight, it's like, because I'd never been in this place before. I'd never been in the place that I kept the weight off.
Yeah.
Like before, I would go off the diet and immediately I'll get to the weight, I would go off the diet and I'll go back to eating exactly the way that I'd eaten before the
Okay.
diet. And maybe even eating stuff that I remember when I did Weight Watchers. Actually, I was 14 when I did Weight Watchers at 14, that Mum took me to. I wasn't a biscuit person, but afterwards, I remember I ate a whole packet of biscuits.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. Wow. So it's changed you and all your clients in so many ways.
It does. I mean, I'm I no longer have a weight issue. I no longer have an issue with my food
Mm.
or with eating. And I have this amazing tool here, to use in other areas
Yeah.
of my life. And it's also, as I said, like there's a new journey for me.
Mm.
You know, um, although I lost the weight probably towards I'd say the summer 2019. But since then it's been like, kind of like a new journey for me, a new experience of being on the other side and of keeping the weight off as well. And also, things that have come up that I can apply EFT to as well.
Yeah.
Um, Like, for example, my nephew said he wanted to go to an all-you-can-eat back in 2022. He wanted to go to an all-you-can-eat Chinese restaurant.
Right.
And I thought, yes, of course, I'm going to go to that. And
Yeah.
so I tapped on any fears or worries that came up
Hmm.
about that. And I went there. I really enjoyed the food. I ate whatever I wanted. I ate, and when I felt full, I stopped. And even though a member of the party said, you've got to try these mushrooms. You've got to try these mushrooms. First of all, I said, no, thank you, because I was full, no, thank you. And said,
Hmm.
you've got to try them. So I took one mushroom and
Yeah.
had a mushroom, and that was just
Fantastic.
so yes. So
Brilliant. Well, congratulations to you, Fiona, not just for your own journey, but for all the help you're giving all those women that you're working with. It's just incredible. So, yes,
I
credit.
love it so much. It's such a deep honor
Yeah,
to work with these women.
yeah, absolutely. Yes, so much trust involved there. And vulnerability, people allowing themselves to be vulnerable. Yeah, for sure. And that's the joy of the work we do, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely, it is.
Thank you so, so much. If anyone wants to get in touch with Fiona, and I highly recommend it, you can contact her with the links below. Fiona, thank you.
Thank you, Mary Jane.